Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sedge episode
Hi, 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 hi.
episode.
171 of the Three Splinters podcast.
You're so good at keeping track. I always forget now because we've done so many amazing lectures on how to be incredible in the workshop.
You didn't catch what I was saying.
What?
I went hi, hi
Oh, it's a new thing.
instead
Why
of
is
bye
that
bye.
Oh,
Oh,
great. Now we
it's a new
started
thing.
another new thing. Awesome. I'm
I
sure
can't
the
believe
patrons will appreciate that. Speaking of patrons, we do have two new patrons
way cool.
to the Three Splinters podcast. We'd like to welcome Lauren Lee,
Ooh. Welcome,
and I
Lauren.
hope I hope I say this right, Rianne Whitby. It
Oh,
could be
welcome, Ryan.
Ryan, just spelled very different.
Oh, hi, Rianne Ryan. How are you? Thanks.
Rianne Ryan Whitney. Whitby.
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 Whitby. Welcome. Thank you for being patrons.
Thank you
Thank
very
you for
much.
being patrons. And because you're a patron, you have a chance of winning our giveaways, which we're about to do right now. So, reminder for everybody, we're doing two things tonight. We have which I actually meant to write them today to let them know that we were going to be doing this, but we're giving away two boxes of Salice Progressa slides.
Sweet.
They will have two lucky winners. Will win a box. In each box comes 6 pairs of the Progressa undermount drawer slides plus the hardware needed, i.e., the clips. And you will get to choose between 15, 18, or 21 inches.
Mm.
So you guys all get to experience why we love Progressa drawer slides from Salice. And we're also doing a festival swag giveaway.
Hey, those Salices are only available for shipment in 48 states, the lower 48.
Continental US. Thank you, Sedge.
You're
Knowing
very
somebody in
welcome.
Hawaii would have won.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ronnie would have had to pay the shipping.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing tonight. It's the Festool pen set. And Sedge, we actually have two of these because you gave me one and then I had one that I picked out.
Ooh.
So we actually have two of these. These are the coveted, nice metal case. Says Festool on it right here for those of you that are watching this, but most of you aren't. So I don't know why I'm even wasting my time. But then on the inside, there are two wonderful pens with Festool's branding on them.
Isn't that the case, the one that they carved out of a single piece of aluminum, the pins and everything?
Yep.
Yes, from the space
Yeah.
shuttle.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can tell. Yeah, you can
Yes.
tell by the grain match on the aluminum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a grain match going on. Yeah.
It is a limited edition. And I want to say the value on the set I have is a little bit less than Sedge's. But the value on this one is probably 126,000. I think Sedge's is like 1.2 million, basically because it was his.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And
probably it.
I signed the inside of the pen under
Well,
the cap.
It just went up by triple.
Sedge, you know what we should have? Yeah, we should have done that. Or you should have.
yeah.
You should have signed the inside of yours. That would have been great.
Yeah.
You know, people are all about Sedge. It's like
Whatever.
Sedge on OnlyFans, Sedge on
Whatever. Hey,
All right.
I just set up a Tinder account just so I will,
Perfect.
put that out
I bet
there.
you the person who wins, who's about to come up, is probably on your Tinder. Who is it? Number one for Salice drawer slides, Jens Bodel.
All right, Jens Bodel. Woo!
I hope that Jens Bodel is U.S. For some reason, I want to say yes. If not, we'll just have to do another draw. And if you're not in the U.S. Jens, I apologize. Number two,
These are
Salice
for
drawer slides.
Ooh.
Last one. Who is it? Wheel of names. Tyler Valentine.
All right.
He can get that for his girlfriend or wife for Valentine's Day
That's right, Tyler
coming
Valentine.
up. Because
Slides.
nothing says love like Salis. That's how we say it in Kentucky. They're
Yeah.
Salis slides.
Salis, yeah.
Salis.
All right, now for the festival swag. Let's see who it is and who I get to ship something else to. Be somebody local. No, not local, but it is somebody we all know, Mr. Dave Embry.
All
Hey,
right. That's Gwen's husband.
in West Virginia.
West Virginia. That's Gwen's husband.
Gwen's husband.
All right.
So Gwen won some pins.
Yeah, Gwen won
Exactly.
some pens. Technically, she could be nice and she could share one with Dave. There are two.
Hey, Jason, open that up. Is one a pen and one a mechanical pencil?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a good question.
I vaguely remember one's a mechanical
Okay,
pencil.
one's a pen. Sedge, you are right. You see, it's almost like you work for Festool.
Yeah.
For
I
years.
aspire to work there.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Dave, but you didn't win two pens. You won one pen and one mechanical pencil. Oh no.
What?
I hear some like horrific screaming going on upstairs from Leo.
Uh-oh.
Got me sidetracked there. Nicole's up there with him, but
Oh,
she
okay.
probably took the remote from him or something, and he's
Or the basketball. That was a cool story, man. He really
Oh,
knows
yeah.
how to dribble well, huh?
it's pretty impressive to see just how far he has come in just a couple of practices. I felt the same way when I was taking him to the golf course. He makes progress very quickly, and I'm sure that's normal with most children. But let's see what else. Oh, I wanted to talk a little bit about SplinterCon. We're up to 33 ticket sales, which means we only have 17 left. If I'm being honest, I'm a little surprised we didn't sell a few more since our last podcast release, but we did sell a couple. Matter of fact, one of the people who just became our new patron, I'm pretty sure signed up just to come to the event
Oh, wicked
because they
cool.
signed up and then I got an email notification saying they bought a ticket. So
Oh, cool.
Well, we're
That's
now,
exciting.
We're in the phase right now of the in-betweeners. You got the people that jump right on it, and then you got your last minuters, and the in-betweeners aren't a big group.
no, but we'll get some more. But again, we still have 17 tickets left. Again, once they get to 50, they're gone. There's no more. There's no more stock on the website. No one. You'll just have to hope that you can come to 2026.
Hey, Ronnie, just for a little clarification for me, is in betweener a one word or is it hyphenated? Or
It's
is
all
it two
one
words?
word. It's one word, and you have to say it real fast. It's
In betweeners.
Yeah, in betweeners.
Okay, thanks. I
Yeah.
just wrote that down. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, and also we know that even though we're selling 50, someone's going to end up selling their ticket on eBay for like 2 or 3,000. It's
Yeah,
inevitable.
probably.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
Last minute ticket sales. Better get them
Yeah.
before the prices go up, people. That's all I'm
Yeah.
going to say. Can't wait. All right, so I've been blabbing enough, and it's only fair that we let everybody know that tonight we have a special guest. His name is Jeff, and he runs the Instagram page Carter Wood Studio. Hello, Jeff.
I like Jeff.
Yo, yo, yo.
Hello.
It was
Is
got
this
a
your
cool
first
there.
podcast?
Yeah.
It is your
What's
first
that?
podcast?
This is my first podcast. This is the first time I'm
Oh.
using a mic.
So okay, so
Wow.
let's talk about that for a second. For all of you listening, you know, in the hopes that one day you'll become a guest, this is Jeff's first podcast, and he shows up prepared with a mic,
Even headphones.
ready to go, like he's a seasoned professional.
Yeah.
What
You
kind of
fake
mic
it
did you
until you
get?
make it, you know?
Did you get the one I was telling you about, the Shure?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
man, see?
Cool.
This is
Yep.
this is great.
Yeah.
He's got a cool last name too.
Wood. Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
It was bound to be.
It
Yeah.
was.
Well, I mean, your specialty is in underwater basket weaving, so I don't really see how
Yeah.
wood comes into play there. Well, tonight we're going to have you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do. We'll probably chat a little bit about social media and how you incorporate that. Talk a little bit on the business side. Our audience, you know, always appreciates other woodworkers and ways that they do things, tools that they use, how they got into it, especially people that are running a business, like how you navigate certain things. So we don't
Yeah.
specifically have a topic when we have guests on. We kind of just let the guest steer the direction. And as we hear things, we'll probably ask questions and we'll see where it goes.
Right. Perfect.
So
Yeah. So I'm Jeff Wood. I have a custom furniture making business in Metro Detroit from Michigan, mainly making hardwood pieces and all 100% custom. And so I don't have like inventory or anything. Everything I make is all 100% custom. So clients find me through Google or through whatever it might be, referrals, and come to me for, mainly hardwood pieces is what I'm focusing on, but I'll do a little bit of cabinetry here and there. So that's the quick and dirty.
Now, how did all this even start? Like what made
And
you all of a sudden
how long
decide to
ago?
start?
This is a long story.
Good.
No, it's fine. We got plenty
We
of
got
time.
an hour and a half.
Yeah.
How did this start? So, I mean, I've always been around people that are making things. I mean, my grandpa, he built his house, right? He was always tinkering in the garage. My uncle's a welder. He was always tinkering in the garage. So I was always around that type of person, but they were never making, fine furniture or really, hardwood pieces. It was always construction stuff, right? Um, the rough carpentry. And then in 2018, I think, um, I was golfing a bunch. So Jason, I know you love golf,
Yes,
right?
I knew I liked you.
Yeah. So I was golfing probably 5 days a week, and it's a sad story. I started getting arthritis in my hand, and I had to stop golfing. And so
Oh,
I then found woodworking. And with woodworking, you can leverage tools, right? You can leverage sanders. Everything isn't so always have to be hand tools like Sedge is doing. But I found a way to use woodworking to kind of satisfy the feeling I got from golf. And then it just continued to take off. I had a corporate job, so I was in automotive, and was able to kind of do this after 5, and 5 p.m. until almost 11 p.m. every night. Started making cutting boards, and then realized people will pay me money for things.
Yeah.
This is all, and then it started to click, and then every dollar was just reinvested because I had I had the corporate job that was helping support the business. And then every dollar that I made, I just put right back into tools. And people like you, Jason and Sedge, and, I followed people like you guys to learn. I'm self-taught. It's not like don't have any proper courses or proper training. Everything kind of happened through this awesome, YouTube environment we have now where you can just go learn anything at any time.
mhm. Like how to build a boat.
Exactly. How to build a boat. Right.
Right. I know. It's
Watch
so
us struggle
cool.
through it.
My
Yeah. And then it
God.
just took off. Right. I mean, it
That's
just
awesome.
took off, and started, making simple things like coffee tables, and my uncle would weld the legs, and then
Oh, cool.
it turned into smaller cabinetry, and then it turned into, very fine stuff. And then it's hand carving on doors, and just every single project I try to do something, above and beyond the next, to the next level. Cause I just love to learn. Right.
Mhm.
And, um, I just kept trying to push the limits, um, with what I can do and what I did previously. And so now it got to a point where I could quit the corporate job, get out of the corporate world, and do it almost full time.
So I I was actually surprised. Like obviously I know you and I have spoke for quite some time off and
Yeah.
on via Instagram. But today, while I was like going back and like looking through your page and everything, I realized that you had first sent me a message back in 2020 in September, right?
That's when it really started.
Yeah, I just found that crazy because I'm like, holy cow, like we have been communicating for that long via social media. And then it was just recently, I think, when we were talking about the camera stand and all
Mhm.
that stuff, where it kind of, we started talking a little bit more. But as I was going through the page and stuff, I saw that there's often a lot of other people in your posts. Is that family members? Is that other
People
people
are
that work
tagged
with
or
you?
what?
No, like I saw some posts that looked like an older gentleman that was with you in the shop.
Probably my uncle. Yeah, so
Okay.
my uncle
I
will
didn't
come
know if
help
it was
me.
just you or if it was you
Yeah,
and a
so
couple
it's
other people.
mainly just me. It's mainly me. But my uncle, he lives a couple miles away. He'll come help, do things around in the shop. My neighbor, I can call at any moment in time, which is awesome. Young kid, loves to work, loves to learn. And you can throw him on the sander at any time and he loves it. So,
Mhm.
I can call him when I'm really in a pinch or, backed up or something and need some help. But it's most likely my uncle that you're seeing.
Where did the name Carter Wood
Yeah.
Studio come from?
Carter
that was a
is
good
my
question.
middle name.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's just my name.
Oh, okay. So instead of Jeff Wood Studio, Carter. Carter
Exactly.
sounds better.
Carter sounds better, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Way more designer-ish.
Yeah,
So
very luxury.
now, well, let's talk about the business side a little bit. Is the market that you're in a one, judging by some of the things that I've seen you build, I think I already know the answer to this, because I can't imagine that they would be inexpensive pieces of furniture. Also seeing the tools and stuff that you use, which I kind of want to talk about that too. Is it a good market there? Are you in your local area? Did you have to branch out?
I am only really in my local area. And so the market here for custom, really true custom work is great because not a lot of people do it. Really, no one does it. Um, doesn't mean I'm inviting you to move up here, right? But
Hey, we could ship.
Yeah.
exactly.
So I'm wondering, did it help you as it did me that being in the corporate environment, you worked with people that had good paying jobs, and were they your first customers?
Absolutely. I
That's
mean,
how it happened with me.
yeah, because there is a lot of money in this kind of surrounding area, and they don't know what to do with it. A lot of doctors, a lot of lawyers. 80% of the people around it is all automotive people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, and you got $1 million home where they're just gutting it and just wanting all new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's and I don't take every job either, right? It's you talk to 10 people and you take one of them, two of them,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so it kind of has to be a good fit. And I going forward now, because the last 6 months I haven't really been working in the shop. I've been rebuilding my shop for the last 6 months. So I just
Wow.
started working again like January, like this month. It's my first commission job is just started like 3 weeks ago. And so it's now where I'm kind of cherry picking what I'm doing because I want to do stuff where I love it and can
Yep.
learn from it and can challenge myself.
Mhm.
And so everything is new. Doesn't mean that's the best business decision.
Oh, actually, I think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, if the client pays, right? It
Right.
depends. And what's the learning curve to do,
Yeah.
to make what you're trying to make, right?
Yeah.
But once you know it, you know it.
Taking
Yep.
everything can be a bad business decision too.
Oh, it
You
is.
know.
Right. So I try to cherry pick and because I also do consulting and I also am in real estate. So I have some other things I do that supplement a little bit this. So this is more like a love thing.
Man,
Yeah.
he's
Um,
checking all the same boxes that I
Yeah,
do.
right.
The real estate
Yeah.
thing too. That's interesting.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, it,
Just so
there's-
you know, Jeff, Ronnie's a slumlord down in Lexington.
is he?
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
I'm not
He
a
owns like
slumlord.
4,000 properties.
No.
Oh my God.
And he has his kids, do all the work there.
No, that
Yeah, I
is
don't own any property. It's just more I sell residential and commercial space.
okay.
And I don't promote it a ton. I do it, mainly if someone has a need or it's a friend, I'll do it for that type of a person, but it's not like I'm drastically, promoting that.
Mhm.
But
it's
it
just a
does help.
side gig.
Yeah, it's a side gig.
Hey, it's always
That's
good to have a
cool,
lot
though.
of pieces of the pie. It's always good.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, it's hard to woodworking full time is challenging.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a challenging, it's challenging.
There-
Um, I mean, that's my perspective at least. And to do what, to make a piece that I'm trying to make, I mean, it's 50 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It's not like it's just a couple day thing, you
Next weekend
know.
project.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
just like a weekend project. It's
Well, there's so many things that you had just said that I want to unpackage. And I'm like taking notes because I think they would all be great things to talk about. But the first one that I kind of want to hit on is that thing you said is like, now you basically stepped away from it for a while to get into the shop stuff, which I want to talk a little
yep.
bit. But now you're cherry picking. And the one thing that you said, which was very telling to me, was, you know, now I'm going to get this opportunity to do the things that I want and really develop as a person. And I feel like, okay, is that not like the dream that every woodworker aspires to get to? Not building the same thing or the same whatever dumb thing somebody saw on Etsy that they're going to recreate. Rather, I'm getting really bored doing this. It's not testing my abilities. What do I want to do? I want to build really cool stuff and I want to get better at woodworking while I'm doing it. And by the way, I want to get paid and I want to not have to worry about timelines. Like literally all of the things that you're talking about, I feel like is the level that everybody wants to get to. Like if I'm talking for myself, I would say that I am at a phase right now in my woodworking where I'm really getting bored. I'm getting bored because YouTube has taken priority over everything. Um, I'm not challenging myself because I'm stressed that there's all these projects that I want to get done for my own house. What are those projects? Cabinetry, right? Remodeling. It's not
Yeah.
it's not that those things don't present challenges. It's like I don't get excited about it because I know it yeah, maybe I'm going to run into a new challenge like this wall is more out of whack than another wall that I did or I'm using new hardware like this project. I purposely used a bunch of hardware that I have never used because I want to get the experience. So it's like that's about as far as I can go with the challenge. But I'm getting to a point, and hearing you say that really makes me want to start prioritizing doing what I want to do because I want to be a good woodworker, right? I don't want to be just a guy who remodels his house all the time and builds the same frameless cabinet over and over again. So
Right.
I
And
think
that's
it's
what I,
interesting that you're now at that level.
yeah, I mean, I'm not, I'm always learning, right? So this isn't, um, I'm very still new in this too, right?
Mhm.
Um, but the other jobs, right? Real estate, consulting, that stuff, keeps the lights on and it
Mm-hmm.
allows me to kind of really do what I want to do and cherry pick the clients I want to work with and
Yep.
really integrate every piece of equipment that I have, shaper, panta router, all these things. I can integrate that into the build and work with clients that are totally open to design. And so that's kind of an upfront conversation I have is, hey, I work best when you give me a little bit of freedom. Um, and so otherwise it's, you feel pinched and then while you're working in the shop, right? It doesn't feel like you. I mean, that's my perspective. It feels forced.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah. So you said you had taken a 6 month break to focus on the shop stuff. In terms of the 6 month break, typically that would be things that really kind of destroy the trajectory of a company or a furniture builder, right? To just say, because one of the questions I was going to ask is like, how far out are you booked, right? But then you're like, well, I took a 6 month break. So I'm assuming you're still probably have already started booking things out since you started a new job. But that made me think like, okay, well, was that hard when you finally came back and said, all right, I'm going to do this again? Or did people that you were already talking
Well,
to know that you were taking a break?
so the clients that I had booked knew that I was taking a break. They for sure knew I was taking a break. During that 6 month period, I've built a ton of relationships in this kind of area with other folks that are also builders, makers. The I met one individual that focused really only on cabinet doors and drawer fronts, but he can do everything and anything. And so I had a client that commissioned me to help design and build 4 vanities and a gigantic mudroom. This had more cabinets than twice my kitchen.
Wow.
And
That's a lot of mud.
a lot of mud. Yeah, exactly. Um, but I was able to kind of utilize those relationships to, leverage their space and leverage them as a maker and collaborate on those projects with that person to kind of keep the lights on too, and keep the content coming and keep posting and keep it active. Because if I didn't, then yeah, you're right, I'm dead in the water and it would hurt the trajectory. But I did full kitchen, a full house remodel, 4 vanities, mudroom, and a bunch of other, probably 3 or 4 other projects while, kind of working with someone else to do that the last 6 months. But again, it was mainly, my work, but it's someone else kind of helping me do install or helping me build the doors. And so now it's to a point where I kept it afloat for those 6 months, got my shop exactly where I want it. Now I can take all of it in again. Right.
Gotcha. So you really didn't take off for 6 months?
Yeah, I didn't take off. No.
No. Okay. Yeah. Because I was like, man, I would have loved to have done that.
Yeah. No.
You know,
No.
man, that'd been nice. Wow.
I'd like to take off for 6 months just to get the shop the way that I'd like for it to be. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. That's why I thought you were going to say it first, the 6 months, because I don't know if you could do it in that much time.
Well, the reason
No.
the 6 months, I demoed my old shop like 100%. So it was,
Wow.
I was in a space that was 24 by 16, and it was the original garage of the house, which is 1947, I think.
Wow.
And, I had built it. So I moved here in 2018. And so from 2018 till, I guess 6 months ago, I used that space and kind of built that space up. And again, it was only 24 by 16, and it wasn't really enough to move around in. And you couldn't even take on a big project, right?
Because you
And
run out of room. Yeah.
you run out of room, and
Yeah.
there's money in the big tables and the bigger credenzas and stuff where you can have space to move. And I could only do one project at a time. And so we decided to demo the shop and kind of rebuild 24 by 40. And that's what took the 6 months.
Yeah. That's a good
Wow.
size.
So
I'm looking at your old shop right now on Instagram. Yeah, you were
Are
tight,
ya?
dude. You were
It was
tight.
organized, but it was tight.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't you think it was good to start in a space that size before you went to that
Absolutely.
24 by 40?
Absolutely.
Because
You have to.
yeah, I think it's really important phase to start out cramped, because it forces you to start thinking that way versus just
Yeah.
starting with a lot of space.
See, I'll tell you the thing that people don't realize when you look at a shop. Oh, I got my shop dialed in. It's tight. I don't have to walk everywhere I go. Yeah, but what do you build? You got to store those cabinets somewhere, right? And that people don't understand that. You can build little things in a small shop, but for me, it was like you got one kitchen waiting for an install, or somebody's not, meeting
Yeah.
a deadline. You gotta have room to put it, right? While you're working on
Yeah.
another one. And that's where I tell everybody, if you're opening a business, you maximize, you get as much space as you can, because you don't want to have to keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving
Yeah, as much
as your
space as you
business
can,
grows.
but don't allow for all that space to be for a tool setup. It's like
Exactly.
you got to allow for at least like a third of it to be just wide open space.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
you
this is.
need
I
room
mean,
for whip. Yeah.
I haven't always
Yeah.
known that. I mean, I'm realizing that more and more. It's like, yeah, when I thought, oh, well, I'll fill it up. I got all this room, but you want to keep that. Jason has an open space in his, so does Sedge.
Yeah.
He has a spot where you could actually pull a car in if you wanted to,
Yeah,
and
but
that comes in
Ronnie,
handy.
think of all the space you're gonna have when you move that boat out.
Exactly. Yeah, we had to slide some things over because that's part of our machine layout was trying to use the whole room. But it didn't, it was only a few moves to make that happen. And it really didn't change that much. We still can use all the tools. So it just shows you how a lot of times you can have your machines more condensed than you think.
Yes.
But yeah, it'll be amazing to get that spot back, losing a third of the shop now for a year and 3 months.
Yeah.
I mean, it brought back building that miter saw stand, and I had all those drawer boxes. I had six. I keep forgetting how many bays I had. I think I had six. Yeah, 6 bays. I kept moving them back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
And every
I
time
keep
you move, that's money.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
Ugh, it brought
that's
back so
important.
many memories.
Yeah.
It's just like today I'm ripping down stuff and getting material ready for the big events that you guys are coming to. And I looked at Brent and I said, dude, I'm getting the cat and I'm putting it in the hallway. And as I rip it, I'm putting it on here. And then we're moving it into your room. And then you can put your stuff because I'm not moving it 4, 5, 6 times. And then
Right.
we just wheel it right out to the warehouse on Monday to get everything ready. But geez, criminy. It's like you start doing stuff and you've moved it here, and then all of a sudden, I got to move it over here, and then you move it here. No, I like to move it once.
Yeah,
Well,
ideally.
that's the same problem that I'm having right now with this kitchen,
Yep.
uh, the additional cabinets that I'm building, and because they're so big, right, almost 8 feet tall, I have moved. Like today, I edge banded everything. I was keeping them in stacks based on what cabinet it was, just even though they're already labeled, but just to keep them all together. I had to move like 15 times today. I'd have to move this. And then, oh, by the way, because they're big, huge pieces, they're leaning up against my sustainer cabinets, and I need something out of there. And then I've got to like lean the things forward. And it's when stuff like that happens that you realize, like, okay, maybe I need to be a little bit smarter about my layout, which is, where having a ton of space is so nice. And I think I think you mentioned it, like people would just fill it up typically, but
Yep.
it's like, no, like you need to have a spot,
Yep.
especially if you're running a business, because you're going to be in between jobs. You're going to be waiting to install a finished project. You're going to be working on 3 projects at the same time. Like, what do you do with all that stuff? You got to have a place for it.
And I think that's something you learn as you go. And you do it for a while. It's like when you rip a piece and you stand it up. Where am I standing it up?
Mhm.
Am I need to have? Will I have to get around there to get other things?
Mhm.
Will it be in the way? Oh
Yeah.
my God. It's just even today, it's just all the stuff I was ripping up, and I'm like, oh my God.
I remember
You
when
know,
I remember when my shop was cramped, sometimes I would use a tool that I wouldn't ideally use because the other one was blocked with material. And I was like, oh, I don't want to get all that the way. I'm just going to use
exactly.
this. I'm just going to use this. It's a lot harder, but it's better than moving all that material.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing I tried to really, really, really think about with the new shop is having kind of dedicated spaces. I don't
Mhm.
want to move something.
Oh, it's
Nope.
awful.
I don't want to have to move a bandsaw to use a larger portion of my joiner bed, right? I want it to be fixed and I want to use it and I want it to be dedicated and I want to have airdrops to it and not have to think about it. So that was I took months just planning the layout of the new shop just to make the workflow work for me and be able to take on 2 projects at a time,
Yes.
finish or be almost done with one. Now I can start milling lumber for the next one, and now it's ready to work with, and I can use it right away when the other one goes out the door.
Yep.
Um,
Now, is the
but
new space, did you build a new shop or did you add on
it,
to your existing?
I built so it was demoed and was built in the same place.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah. So demoed in, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes. These guys are, I don't know, you ever seen
Wow.
a
Oh, yeah.
building be demoed?
Oh,
A
yeah.
building, no. I remember
Just
watching the
like
guys
any
that demoed
structure,
my
right?
deck and it was like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Everything was gone.
Yeah. It was kind of sad. It was nice and sad at the same time because it's like, I started there, right?
Hmm.
Um,
So
a lot of
you had to pour more slab.
had to pour new, yep, footers, slab, everything.
Yeah.
dedicated electrical, um,
Cool. Did you
everything.
did you do it or did you have somebody come in and do it?
No, I had someone come in and do it.
Smart man.
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
So
Too
during
much.
that time, I was focusing on the other jobs,
Wicked cool.
you know,
Smart.
and doing what I could with the furniture stuff, still taking orders, still designing stuff, still booking people. But
Boy, you got some patient clients, dude. Yeah. Wow. Sounds like you got some great clientele up there.
Yes.
So
yeah, no,
speaking of clientele, what was your initial way to get new clients when you first started doing the woodworking? That's something that everybody always is interested in. Um,
um,
and then kind of talk a little bit about how it evolved and what it is now.
yeah. So initially it was, I started Instagram, right? Okay, I don't have some huge following, but it's local people that I know, right? Everyone that's local was following me. And so it started by kind of friends and family.
Hmm.
So I could kind of do trials on the family, you know?
Yeah. They
Let
got some
me,
good deals, I
yeah,
bet.
like there's some stuff I built that I'll keep forever, but it's like that wood has no room to expand. And so
Oh
it's stuff
yeah.
like that where, I was able to trial a little bit on the family, and then it was, you know, it it just trickled slowly to expanding outside of friends and family. And then I built a website. And so I took a lot of time to build the website and make sure the SEO and all the keywords are working properly. Um, and what really I think made it take off, at least like have people call me. And it's not like taking off, it's not like exploding. I'm not booked for 2 years or something. But what made it where I get, a call at least a day is
Wow.
Google Maps. Google Maps. Got to be on
Wow.
Google Maps and reviews on Google Maps.
Mhm.
Oh, I see. So if somebody went on
So,
Google Maps, put like buy
woodworker, go
furniture
search
near me.
woodworker on Google Maps. I'll come up first one. It's
But
great. I
Wow.
test
okay.
it with like friends. I'm at a party or something. I'll go, I just did this. We are at my fiance's work party and someone was there. I'm like, what do you do? What do you do? Oh, I make furniture. I'm like, search, I'm just curious, search woodworker on your phone. And I pop up. And we're like 30 minutes away in Ann Arbor, actually.
Okay.
Cool.
But
So
that's where it really helped is people just searching like cabinet maker or
mm,
woodworker or custom furniture on Google. And then looking at the reviews, because that's what you guys do, right? For
Yep.
restaurants, probably. You're in
Yep.
a new city,
so
or wherever, you're looking at reviews.
so I got a
Yep.
question on you for you for that. My least favorite thing is getting called. I cannot stand it. Or email or text. I
Yeah.
hate it. I hate it. I know that sounds
You
stupid,
got to learn to
but
love it, Ronnie.
well, no, I'll never will. I don't like it, but it's a necessary evil. But
Yeah.
maybe some people enjoy it. But if you're getting a call a day, how on earth do you process those and still get work done? Like, you know what I mean? Because a lot of them are just tire kickers. A lot of them think you're going to price it like Ashley Furniture. How do you
I'll give them prices on the phone right
just as
there,
quick as
as
possible?
quick
Don't
as there.
as
Yep.
little
Get them
as
hooked.
little. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's
Okay.
otherwise, if you're just dilly-dallying around, you wait 4 or 5 days to give them a quote, it's that they're already talking to someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the
You're
danger.
qualifying them right there.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
landed a job a couple days ago, big pantry built in and a really nice like mudroom nook. And this nook they want an all hardwood, and it's super nice. But I went over there within an hour to her house. They called me, and
Yeah.
you just you have to be a little bit,
Yeah.
kind of have to let your schedule be fluid, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
It's just what you want, right?
Right.
Everyone has a
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
different
That
That's
I
want.
cool.
I think that's the difference in getting from Google side versus getting it if you're working with like a remodeler or the designer. The person already comes pre-qualified and you kind of know it's worth calling them. I guess that's what I also was thinking. It's like I have a friend that's doing the Google Maps thing and it's working out great for him. He has a totally different type of business, but he was telling me how important it is. And it's something about bidding. Do you have to like bid to get is it something like that? You have to bid to get the area, he was explaining to me,
Mm-mm.
or it's something about you have to do something to come up first.
I'll
I
tell
don't
you,
know
I just
about.
went on Google Maps just because I was curious because you said that. And I typed in woodworker. I am blown away by how many custom woodworkers there are in my area.
Yeah. I,
Like people
I,
have obviously figured it out, but I would have never thought about that. I would have been like
yeah.
furniture near me, right? Or
Hmm.
or something like that.
Yeah.
But I just typed in woodworker, like you said, just in my area, and boom, all these like, you know, Hoosier Wood Shop, Stetzel Woodworking, Board and or HM2 Woodworking. Like
Mm.
that's crazy. I would
It's,
have never. That's super smart.
Yeah, I
it
mean
had some,
it's not like I come up first every time, but it's top 5 every
it,
time.
I'm just looking in my area
Yeah.
specifically. I was just curious is
what I,
what would pop up.
I recall it was something to do with the keywords that you could bid to be the first to come up with the keywords. There's something in when you get back in the very back end of it. I think the more competitive the industry, the more that they do that. But you can actually go in there and pay more for the something along that line. And he was getting into that. He actually hired somebody to do that full time, and that's all they were doing.
Yeah,
And it
so
was all based around Google Maps and reviews. It was based around that.
yeah, so the reviews help, right? The reviews help you at least get validated by a customer. But um, what really I think also has helped is the I don't know exactly how to explain it. So I did all my website, built it all, images, everything, and then I was like, you know what? Let me call someone. And I knew a developer that does website development and SEO, which I don't even know what SEO stands for, but
Search
Search
he went,
engine
Search engine
optimization.
optimization.
so
optimization.
they went through this.
Listen to us.
Ah, hey,
The three
influencers. Yeah.
splitters.
Yeah, exactly. So they went through and said, "Hey, this picture doesn't have a title to the picture. That's
Yeah,
like in
meta
the
tag.
background of the embedded title." So I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" So he went through and just changed all that for all my pictures and made sure the keywords were like, all updated, and that also helped.
That's good.
When
Yeah,
people are just randomly searching on Google.
that's
Wow.
good.
Yeah, for
Very
sure. I
good.
mean, the more words that are on your website. So I had the biggest misconception about a website when I first started, and I was like, I need to have a website. I can just, have my products or whatever on there, and yeah, I have a website now, so it's going to come up in Google. And then I can't remember. I think it was Ben or somebody that I was talking to, and it was like, um, actually, it was Ben, not Ben that used to be on this podcast, but you guys met him, Ben Brunt.
Yep, Ben.
Um, he helped redevelop my website, and we were talking about it one day, and he's like, you got to have words on your website in order for it to be searchable. Like that's common knowledge. And I'm like, well, it wasn't common knowledge. I was thinking about it like that. It's like, think about it like this. If somebody types in, Festool woodworking tools or whatever, and on your website, you have the terms Festool or woodworking tools or Festool woodworking tools 10,000 times, that tells Google a lot, right? So like you're
Hmm.
obviously going to ping higher. And it was just this weird realization to me one day. I was like, so that's what they mean when they're talking about SEO, right? And
Yeah.
so we ended up starting to put like articles and stuff. And guess what happened?
Yeah.
Traffic to my website got higher because there was more words on there. There was more ways to
Yeah.
drive people to my website. It can't just be a place. And I'm bringing this up because there's people that are listening to the podcast who have beginner. I don't mean this in a beginner. I'm beginning custom woodworking businesses. Like they're in the early stages. They're trying to navigate this, which is why I asked you about how you advertise. Because they're doing probably like I did when I first started. It was like Facebook Marketplace. Let's put a bunch of stuff out there. But your website can't just be a website and it says, John's Custom Woodworking, and then is just a gallery of
Yeah.
50 things that you built.
Right.
That does nothing. No one's ever going to find that. But if you have a very detailed article beneath each build talking about the build, how you did it, now, you're increasing the opportunities to come to the
Yeah.
site. And I just think a lot of people don't realize how truly important that really is.
Mm.
Another
Yeah.
thing that was equally as important, I think, in growing was when I started to make really nice, started to make like nice pieces that I thought were nice for me, I started to reach out to designers.
Mhm.
And so I started looking at designers on Google Maps and started researching all the luxury designers and blasted emails to the ones that I wanted to work with. Followed up with them once a week because you don't hear from them. I don't think I heard from any of them initially. Followed up a second time, then I heard from two or three of them, then followed up again, heard from another one or two of them, and then I built relationships with now like three or four of them that are now, now they call me for jobs, which is great. And their clients are people that are working with designers, which are usually wanting luxury pieces.
Mhm.
Right.
And
It's
they're
the,
willing to pay, they're willing to pay what it's worth, right?
yeah.
And it's a project where you can put the energy and the effort into it and making it worth that value also.
Mhm.
It's not like you're scamming people, but you want to make something that has value to it. And so those clients that are working with these types of designers usually they want high-end luxury pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was just as equally as important, I think, in growing as as the organically through Google.
So what I think is, I mean, it's a combination of everything, right? So like what I think is fascinating about your story is that your base most people they can never figure out how to target the local audience, right? So I talk about this with influencers all the time, people that are trying to become influencers. They want to build an audience, they want to, get free tools, but they also want to sell to their local customers. They don't want to ship and all this stuff. And they're like so confused in what their overall goal is. And what I tell them is like, how do I grow on social media? And I'll always ask, I'll be like, what's your goal? Well, I want to build my furniture business. I want to sell more stuff. And I'm like, okay, do you want to sell outside of your area? No, I just like the local area. I'm like, okay, your subscriber number doesn't matter. You just need to learn how to target and leverage your local area. And you are a perfect example of how you can do that, right? And I did a presentation for a woodworkers guild down in Georgia when I lived down there, and it was actually talking about this topic. It was how you can leverage social media to grow your furniture business. And this came up, and that designer idea was one thing that I pitched them as an idea, as well as going back to when you started, you were doing cutting boards. I told people, I'm like, I asked the audience, I'm like, who here sells, things like cutting boards, coasters, stuff like that? A few people raised their hand, and I was like, would you like to start building for other people? Yeah, of course. I was like, find a bunch of realtors in your area, contact realtors and say, hey, this is who I am. I would be willing to make these cutting boards and give them to you at a
Yeah.
very low discounted rate that you can then give to your clients. And then you take those cutting boards, make them really nice, wrap them in twine, put your business card on there, whatever it is. And then when they buy the home, they have it. And then it's like, boom, somebody comes over and like, oh, wow, somebody made this. This is cool. Now you have a lead. Now you build something for that person. They have their friends come over. Oh, where did you have this done? Who made that cutting board? Where did you get it? Oh, I got it from this guy. And that your business card's on the fridge. Like those are little things that you can do
Yep.
to target that local area and build connections that you don't need to rely on marketing and advertising anymore, because your product is the marketing. Your product is the advertising, and the people that are going to be your Google are your clients, right?
Right.
So anybody comes over and sees one of your beautiful pieces, while they're there on a Friday night for some fancy dinner at their friend's house. And where did you have that made? Oh, this guy Jeff built it. He has a shop here in town and it's amazing. Oh, I must have one. Right. And then that's how it begins.
Right.
Once that
Word of
word of
mouth.
mouth starts to spread, man, it's game over.
Yeah. It's another
It
thing
never ends.
I'm doing with the
It
shop.
never ends.
It never ends.
Another thing I'm doing with the shop is it's going to be like a showroom. And so, I have, I think, 16 lower cabinets. 16 lower. I have 48 drawers, I think. And a section of white oak, a section of cherry, a section of poplar, a section of alder, a section of walnut, all different fronts, all different finishes. And so people can come and touch and feel
Yes.
the product,
Mhm.
because everyone's like, oh, let me see your work. Can we come see the wood? Can we come see it? It's just like kind of a dirty shop, not really.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that I'm working through now is I got all the cabinets built, all face frames done, and now I'm just working through kind of building the fronts as the jobs come, um, to kind of make it a showroom to let people come and see and touch and feel stuff versus sending them a picture, right?
Mhm.
Pictures definitely do a lot, but
It's not the same.
it's not the same, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's that said you've talked about this before. It's that experience. Like you always talk about, like what somebody does when you build something, they come in and they rub their hand over it.
Yeah,
And
that's
now
one
it's
thing.
like that's
You
that
know, you,
connection that's made.
Yep. Yep,
you
exactly.
know, Mark Adams taught me that. He goes, you want somebody just to come in and look at it and touch it. Then you know you've done something right. They want to feel it sounds so funny. They want to feel the wood.
Feel the
They want to
wood.
feel the wood
But they
in Carter
also
Wood
it's
Studio.
also it's also in design where your ornamentation, you want to train their eye to find that little detail. So you'll do inlay, string inlay on the leg to guide their eye up to bring them to the bellflower at the top of the leg, and then that brings them up to the profile of the table, okay, and lead them down. And that's design 101. You want to, yeah, you could do some wicked nice joinery, but you got to train their eye to follow. Now, it could be really simple. That line could be a tapered leg. People go, oh, yeah, I like that. That's a nice taper. But it also leads their eye up on the taper to the profile in your craftsmanship. So there's so much to it. But once again, you want somebody. I used to hate it when somebody would say, "Oh, don't touch that. Don't touch that. That's a finish I have on there. I don't want." It's like, okay, that's not a piece of furniture I want.
Yeah,
You want
Right.
you
people
can't
to
touch
walk
it.
up. Yeah, you want
Yeah.
to walk up to it and go, "Wow, that's nice." So
Didn't you
Jason,
put finish on it to
yeah,
stop oils from touching?
exactly.
Yeah,
Hey, Jason, what does everybody do when they walk into my office that I'm at now? My desk. Every single time somebody comes up and they just feel the slab, they
They
rub
feel
their
your wood.
hands on it. They rub their hands on it. They want to feel the finish and the natural edge. You know
I
you've done
remember
something.
I
You know
remember
you've
when
done
you
something right.
well, when you did it and you would put the finish on, and I I remember you laughed at me because it was in your shop, and I came in and I was just standing there. I didn't even say anything to you. You didn't say anything to me, and I remember walking up to it. And my initial reaction was, and maybe part of it's because I'm a woodworker, but no, it's like it's a really cool, beautiful slab. Like I just sat there and I was just going back and forth with my hand, right? Because I
I know.
wanted to feel like there's just a big difference. You're so
It's a
right, Jeff, about
it
the picture
connection.
versus feel.
It's a connection.
Yes. I think
Yeah.
you appreciate it more
Yeah, and
too.
the first thing I say in the initial conversation is, hey, this is an intimate process. Like we have to like each other also, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Because, I'll go through 20 iterations of a design with a client. I mean, I'm working on a client now that I've been working with for probably since Christmas or before Christmas on design of an object on a record player. And it's okay, we're going through iterations, but it's an intimate,
Mhm.
it's an intimate process, and it's not a short journey that, oh, I just want this, copy this from Etsy. I just want it made out of nicer materials. No, I mean, I don't want to, that's not what I don't want. I don't want to sign up for that.
Yes.
Have you had one of these two things happen yet? Have you had like a married couple fight in front of you, or
Oh,
have you
more than
had,
once.
or have you had a wife tell you not to let her husband know how much it is?
Oh, yes.
I've had both of those. It's
I have
very
a
odd.
client now. This is the third piece she's got from me. Yeah, don't tell her, don't tell her husband.
And you're just like,
Yeah.
and I showed up once to install a project, and the husband didn't even know I was coming.
Oh, geez.
And I started thinking I was at the wrong house because he was
Oh
like, I
boy.
pulled up with a trailer van, get out. He's like,
Who are you?
what are you doing here? And I'm thinking, this was a huge project. And he's like, oh, he goes, my wife didn't even tell me. That's how I arrived at the job site. It was so strange. But I
That's
realized,
bizarre.
oh yeah, it was like a 30 some $1,000 project. And the husband didn't even know I was doing it. And I was just like, okay.
Did he call his wife or?
He was walking the dog. He'd walk down the front porch. I pulled up in the driveway in front, circle driveway in front of the house, and he goes, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "Well, today's install, like I'm installing." He's like, "You're installing what?" And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he just started walking away with the dog. That was it. That was it.
Boy,
Very,
they had some buku, huh?
oh yeah, because she didn't even
Holy
tell him.
crap, that's buku,
She
dude.
didn't even tell him. I never saw him again, by the way. Never saw him. I guess he was doing his own thing. But yeah, I was just wondering if you had I guess everybody has that happen eventually. I think the husband wife fighting thing is the most awkward
Oh,
because
that's
you
so.
don't know what to do and you don't want to side with one or the other.
Right.
You
Yeah,
just
you
kind
can't
of
do
like,
that.
you just want to be invisible.
Just
I
don't
don't
look
want
at
to.
me. Don't look at
I
me.
don't want to
Yeah.
work. I don't want to work for him
Yeah, it's a bad sign. If you're in
because
it,
she treats her husband like that,
yeah, yeah,
and no way in hell, no
Yeah.
it
way in hell,
it is
in
a
front of
warning sign.
strangers.
Or the
Yeah.
husband treats his wife a certain way.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
flip
yeah,
it the other way too, because
yeah.
said you and I had an interesting experience one time.
I was your helper.
Yeah. Jeff, do you have any do you have one that like really stands out to you? Like maybe something you had to walk away from, or what I'm trying to get at is like how you navigated a difficult situation like that, because that's also something that I think listeners would find very helpful.
The most difficult situation probably had is I didn't vet a client well enough, and there were flags right off the get-go, and I just didn't pay attention. Um, we did a custom mantle for this person with some crazy stone, and we had to scribe the back of this mantle to the stone so it was on there perfectly flush. And the stone had big rock stone, and pretty complicated mantle, especially to make it look flush. And the client picks out the stain. We gave them, I think, 5 or 6 options, everything they wanted, and didn't like. We put it on, didn't like it.
Yep.
Changed the stain again, sanded
Yeah.
everything off in place. It's already installed.
Ugh.
Stained it again, didn't like it,
Mhm.
and we did it. We did it one more time, and he ended up paying us, but that was a complicated. That was to the point where I was, again, also you got to think about, I got to satisfy this person, otherwise they can ruin your whole trajectory.
Yeah.
One bad review on Google, it's over.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yep.
really, that's just the reality. And so you have to try and satisfy, especially when you're already done with a project, right? um, that was a really uneasy situation that eventually got them to the point where they were satisfied, but it took more than effort to get them
Yeah.
to that point,
Mm.
and a bunch of rework. I mean, there's no way we made the money, or I made the money back on that, but it's that's probably the most difficult business situation so far with the furniture. Everything else has been pretty smooth. And I invite the clients to come see the build during the build. Come to the shop, come see the raw form.
Yes. Oh
I
yeah.
I
Yeah.
I mean, I've had,
Always. Always.
this is the third thing I'm doing for this client that I'm on right now. And she's been to the shop, I think, twice already to see it. So there's no like surprise, right?
Surprises.
Yeah.
Yep. No surprises. That's
Um,
always good.
but not too many very bad situations, I guess. Not
I
yet.
there's something I wanted to ask earlier. So I know you do the woodworking, you do uh, the real estate. You mentioned that you do some consulting. What is that about?
So I was a finance director in charge of finance and strategy for an automotive company, a big tier one automotive company. And so I exited that organization. And now, so I'm like, I really know product costing, like really well,
Oh wow.
like really, really, really well.
Mhm.
What he's saying is he's good.
And I know product costing really well. And a guy that I had worked with previously at another company, another automotive company, he had quit that organization and started his own consulting. And the month before I kind of got out of the corporate job, I called him and said, "Hey, I'll be free in a month if you ever need any help."
Wow.
And he said, "Hey, I don't take on more work than I need or than I can do myself." I said, "Hey, just call me if you need help." 1 week after I get out, calls me. And so then I started my own LLC, got my own insurance, and now, got hired by this client directly that we're working with now. I mean, and that's 20 to 30 hours a week.
Wow.
But it's early mornings, and it's all related to product costing.
Wow.
That's cool.
What is product costing? Like how
Exactly
you
what it sounds like. So how much does a product cost to make?
Total cost.
cost
Yeah.
to
Total
make.
cost.
Yeah.
Yep. Total
Got it.
cost.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because in automotive, you have everything's kind of a commodity, right? You have
Mhm.
fasteners, you have widgets and foam and steel and all things that are commodity, and they all have standardized processes. And so I've been around manufacturing my whole career has been in plants. Um, and so just figuring out how much a product cost to make
Mhm.
and then understanding the margin. And then I got into the strategy role and how do
Yep.
it's all kind of related, but the consulting stuff is more, all related to finance and product costing.
Yeah. So, Jason, really quick, people go, I bet you that doesn't cost a lot to make, a Festool track saw. You guys make a ton of money. You would be surprised. And it's all dialed in. Product costing
Yeah.
is dialed in.
With
But it's
Festool, I
just
wouldn't be surprised. The margins can't be
Yeah.
that big.
but
Yeah, the
you,
engineering in it. Yeah.
yeah, but it's all see that's the stuff
The
that people
R&D.
don't understand. R&D.
Yeah, the R&D
The
and that.
family pours so much money of profit back into R&D.
Right.
And it's crazy the percentage, but it's cool. And it took me a while to understand that whole process. And you want to talk about dialed in, then you get a manufactured piece. Where are you gonna sell it? Who's gonna make money? Right? What's the margin you have to design for that? You know, and by the way, it's coming to the United States. You got to calculate the shipping in there. So it's some people ask all the time, why don't you have this over? It's not profitable.
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
pretty cool. Boy, I'm gonna tell you, I hear some stuff and I go, huh? It's crazy. Yeah.
But
But
there's
also with Festool, you gotta calculate, 3-year warranty. You gotta
Yeah.
calculate all kinds of stuff. And
Yeah.
boy, those bean counters got it dialed in, I say.
sure.
I love it. And that's the beauty of Festool. People have brought me in, kind of put me under their wing and showed me some of this. And I'm going, God, I was just to be aware of something like that. It's pretty cool. I didn't mean to go off on a
No.
tangent, but
No,
No.
absolutely. No, of course. I did want to chat a little bit about the social media side of things and kind of what because the three of us, obviously, we're all involved in social media, and as are you, having an Instagram page. But I wanted to ask this question because when we talked about the camera stuff, and so Sedge, I don't know if you saw my new camera rig setup that I have, the movable tripod or single pole thing that I have in my shop. You haven't seen it since I got it?
no,
I got a whole new setup.
Oh, cool,
Next
cool.
time you come over, you gotta check it out. Um, he's the one that
No,
turned me on to it.
no, not gonna do it because then I'll end up buying it.
It's okay. It's not that expensive.
Okay.
But then you sent me those videos of your rig and like everything that you had, and I'm like, man, what the heck is up with this guy? Like, you know, why does he have all of this, fancy stuff? Like, what are your thoughts on social media? Like, do you aspire to grow an audience? Do you want to do a YouTube? Do you want to build a following on social media?
I really like photography, and I have the gear to make videos. And so, I mean,
Oh,
oh, there he is.
oh, there they
Go
are.
ahead, keep talking. I'm going to try to get them out.
It's what's that on your head? Is that a rubber band?
I think Jason muted me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I have, that camera setup, yeah, I showed you, Jason, is pretty neat, but I don't aspire to have some crazy following. Again, my goal is to make nice stuff and learn. That's it. And just challenge myself, right? Because it's really hard to video and make stuff and make money because it takes like 3 times as long to video. and then you're editing. It's just as much time to edit the stuff as it is to film it. And so
Takes me forever.
The stopping and the starting of the video. You don't do it, do you, Sedge?
No.
He has the perfect life.
I have a full business partner who does all of that.
Yeah, that's perfect. I need one of those.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But going forward, I mean, I am filming every build that I think's worth filming. And so I'll, and I, as part of the shop, the shop build and shop rebuild, I sold all my equipment, right? So all my equipment I sold. Saw stop, planer, joiner, drum sander. I mean, I sold everything. I sold everything. And so I started reaching out to, Felder and all the companies and SCM, and ended up having a conversation with SCM, and ended up, getting a joiner, planer, wide belt, slider from them, and big package. And a part of that deal was, hey, we need someone to kind of promote this stuff because it's not really known in, that's kind of it's commercial equipment, they're selling commercial stuff, right? Not to kind of hobby folks. And they don't have I don't feel like they're recognized like the Felders or kind of the other bigger organizations that have the slider, that they're not promoting it that way. And I wanted to help. And I have all the gear to do it, and kind of worked out a deal with them to promote a lot of their equipment and, video it, install stuff and how to use it, set up. And so that's kind of the extent I'm probably going to use social media is, the setup of this equipment, and really just the builds that I want to film, that I have time to film.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, filming's a lot of work.
Is your only platform Instagram?
Yes.
And how many?
But I'm going to start
followers?
YouTube. I'm going to start YouTube.
Just
how many followers do you have on Instagram, roughly?
Like 6,000, I think.
Okay, so I'm bringing that up because this is such a common misconception among people, and why I tell everybody, like, if you are passionate about anything, then just share it on social media if you want to start generating revenue from it. There's a ton of people out there that have been doing this for a long time or a short time. They're all very tight-lipped about money. They're all very tight-lipped. I'm like the complete opposite, and some would say that is a fault. But the reason why I'm so open about everything is because I know what potential is there, and I know how it's changed my life, and I know it could change everybody's life. And I want everybody to be successful, right?
Yes, correct.
Most people do not know just what is possible through social media. And one of the common misconceptions, maybe, Ronnie, you'll speak to this as well. I know. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, pre-pandemic, we'll say. Pre-pandemic, if you were to talk to companies, they all cared about one thing, and that was how many subscribers or followers you had. Why? Because everybody was getting into it, and they thought that mattered.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm bringing this up is because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the way that you think. And what you just said proves that. So, you have an Instagram with, 6,000
Yep.
followers. You've been on for a long time because you and I have been talking since 2020. You don't post a lot of social media content, and you reached out to a brand like SCM, who is a major manufacturer of
Yep.
very high quality tools, even though it's not Felder. I won't fault you for that, but
Oh.
still makes a great product, right? They do. I mean, there's no denying that. They make a fantastic machine. And they worked out a deal with you, which I'm assuming was a discount on the tools. Maybe I'm
Yeah, I mean,
wrong.
because it was a quite a big bundle, right?
Oh,
I mean, I
Right.
yeah.
didn't just get like a slider, right? I got
Right.
a joiner, a planer, slider, wide belt, shaper. I got a lot of stuff from them, and so it was a big package. Um, and it's a brand new shop. It's all white, and it's all going to be, if it's all videoed in the same space by the same person, edited
Yeah.
the same way. That was the selling point is, hey, I can show all of this in the same way, the same type of editing, it's all in the same space.
Consistent.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
all consistent. So, and
But
I like the people there, and so out of
yeah,
all the places I talked to, Sam over at SCM is incredible. Sam Blasco, I don't know if you guys know him, but
I have not met him. No.
yeah, he's great. Um, and he kind of guided me a lot of the way. They came up here for a week and helped do install
Wow.
because it's not just like cookie cutter stuff where you take it and it works.
Mhm.
For the most part it does, but okay, there's a lot of calibration that has to happen
Oh, yeah.
and electronics. Everything's three-phase. So
Ooh, you got three-phase at the house?
hell yes, buddy.
Dog.
Phase converter though.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. A
DT.
rotary, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted like 20 grand to do
Yep.
three-phase directly to the house.
No,
Yeah,
no.
I was like,
So you got a
nah.
phase converter. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, phase
But
converter's a little cheaper.
it's pretty fascinating to me though that, I mean, this should just be an example for everybody listening. Like, you do not need to have some massive following. What you need to be able to do is tell them how you can provide value to them, and brands appreciate that. Brands are willing to work with people of all audience sizes. It does not matter. So I'm so glad that you brought that up, because people just think, they're like, I'll never do it because I have to grow this big audience. And like, that's not the case. Everybody is looking how to exchange value.
Yep.
SCM exchange value to you by giving you a discount, which helps you out monetarily, and you're helping them out by creating content that will help them generate sales.
With
You
awesome
don't have a
equipment,
huge audience,
right? With
right?
awesome equipment too.
Right.
So it's like, and I wanted, I wanted nice stuff, and I was future proofing everything.
Mhm.
I was crying really, really hard one time, like
Yeah.
really hard for a
Yep.
couple weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
um,
But
and
you did
just
get a slider though.
future-proofing. I did get a slider.
So you went from a saw stop to a slider. Have you had a
Yes.
lot of opportunities to use it yet?
It's incredible.
Boom.
I've used every part of it. It's insane. Yes.
Was it here's a question. Was it very strange to you the first time you started using it?
The only thing that was strange was trying to rip boards on the right side of the blade
Yes. Yeah.
from the left.
Yeah.
like on the operator side of the carriage.
Yeah.
But I don't even do that anymore. I don't even use the right side of the blade. I don't think ever.
Yeah. I've used it less and less, but it's funny because I talk to people. Everybody always wants to know, because there's not a lot of people on social media that run sliders now. So when I ended up getting mine, I actually got a lot of really positive feedback on how they were excited that somebody on YouTube has actually switched to a slider, and it's going to switch again this year. But
Incredible.
it was I thought I made a mistake when I first got it. I really did. I even talk about that in one of my videos. I was like, this was the dumbest thing ever. You know why? Because I was trying to use it like a regular table saw originally, and not maximizing the capabilities of a slider, which is what most people would probably do, right? Because it's foreign to them, right? And then one day I was doing something and I was using the slider and it just clicked. And after that, I was like, what am I thinking? Like, this is the best. Yeah. Like, I could get rid of so many different tools in my shop and just have the slider. And I
mean,
would
yeah, I don't
totally
use the
fine.
miter saw.
Yep.
like a chop saw. I don't use a chop saw because the slider is the chop saw
Yeah.
now, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's not like you can just use it full to its full potential right out of the box. You have to put accessories, you have to build jigs, you have to get it to where you can actually use it to its full potential,
Yeah.
right? So I have jigs, all of this is from other people that I've watched and seen and do other things. It's not like I'm creating these by myself, right? One really nice, I think you have the same jig, David
Fritz and
Bedrosian.
Franz. Yeah.
Yeah, the Fritz and Franz is an absolute necessary, to cut small components is really, really nice. And another thing that I added is the an Incra lead screw positioner
Yeah, I saw that.
and attached it to like a support table. So Sam Blasco from SCM, he has videos on this, and so I kind of copied his setup. And so that allows me to rip on the left side of the blade and attach to the carriage. And so I can use my stop on the crosscut fence in combination with this lead screw positioner fence, put them both at 5 inches,
So they're
and then
perfectly
rip.
parallel.
Yeah, so they're perfectly parallel.
I saw that when you posted it, and I was like, "You have got to be kidding me!" Like now, another thing that I feel like I'm going to want. I'm
Oh, yeah,
switching to the.
it's necessary.
I'm switching to the Felder this year. I actually just had talks with them a couple of weeks ago, and when I saw you do that, I'm like, I wonder how I could incorporate that into the Felder. But I always just like to ask people about the slider, because after going from a traditional table saw to that, it just makes so
much safer too.
so much safer, which a lot of people have argued me on, but like I think once you use it, you would totally understand and like get it. But the easiest way for me to explain using a slider, it's incredible how you can get such good, accurate results so effortlessly. That's the best way to describe it. Because Sedge, you have a lot of experience with the slider, right? Back when you were doing the cabinetry side of things.
You would use my buddy's Martin.
Oh, geez.
For a few extra. I've used it probably a couple dozen times for a couple things I was working, and he had the digital readout fence popped out right there. I would just dial everything on. I would bring the board right here and just, I want it at 22.5. Boom, boom. Blade automatically tilts.
Yeah.
But that machine was
like
30. I think they leased it at 38,000.
You said a blade automatically tilts, kind of like the Festool portable table saw.
You know what?
Hey, this episode is sponsored by Festool.
But you know what? You know what, Ronnie? That's why I knew, because of the digital readout on that, I knew how important that is. Because once you zero out, because you could zero out that Martin, I knew every daggone degree that I would pump in there was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once it's dialed in, it's in.
Oh, it's dead on. Yeah, I had a huge headache getting mine set up, but once I did, oh yeah, it's money. Gravy. I won't touch it now.
Gravy.
But total side note, because Ronnie just brought it up, the Festool saw. I'm not even joking, guys. So when I got that saw from Festool, right, I was part of the launch campaign. They sent me the saw. I did the post on it, messed with it a little bit. I think I did a video on it on YouTube. Use it for a couple of different applications, and it went down in my basement because that's where like a lot of my additional stuff that I would probably find myself using in home renovation kind of just lives down in the basement. I have a totally different set of tools at this point down there. When I did the chessboard, I built the chessboard for the reasons of like, hey, this is a really cool opportunity. It's a small project. Let me just put this thing through its paces. I have not taken that thing out of my shop since, and I find myself going to that saw to do a lot of different cuts. So much so that I decided today, as I was like, it's just sitting on top of the cabinet that I built with a video with Nicole, which is not a good solution. It just happens to be the right height. It's still in there. I need to get rid of it. But I'm going to build, I think Tyler from Forge 3D, he just built a really cool cart for that like holds a dust extractor underneath and everything else. And I already have a extra dust extractor that's, sitting in my shop. I actually think I'm going to build that cart, and I'm going to find a space for it, like in a corner. But when I need to use that thing, it's on casters. I roll that thing out. I use it
And
because
who's that
it's
made
so
by?
great. Milwaukee, I think is the
Milwaukee default.
Milwaukee.
What?
Very, very similar to your chessboard. The grate that we did recently on the floor of the boat, when I needed to make those cuts and they had to be dead on, I went out to the van and got that saw and brought it into my shop. Even though I have a Powermatic, like full size, saw, but it's just more pleasant and enjoyable to cut those strips, those thin strips on that saw versus my big full size saw.
Yep.
And if it wasn't for the dado blade, I think I would get rid of my Powermatic saw that I've had for 20 years. I really do. Because I
Jeff.
use the track saw for things, cutting big sheet goods. I used to use the track saw. I don't want to pick up the sheet and so between that, the track saw and the other one, I can do everything that I ever want to do except for that dado stack.
Yeah.
And that's why I would keep my big table saw.
Jeff, just so you know, Festal's never sponsored anything on our podcast, and we just talk about it.
It comes up. It comes up
Well,
a
I
lot.
mean,
And it's sometimes sometimes I think, okay, yeah, Sedge works with Festool full time, right? But sometimes I think does Festool sponsor this? It's just
They
like
oughta.
somebody reached out to me on the Sedge Tool channel and said, "Hey, I know Festool sponsors your, channel." I go, no, they don't,
No.
dude.
It-
No, they don't.
I will
But
say
they kind of support me.
They
I
support
will
you. Yeah.
say one other thing. The only thing that my son has never used is my Powermatic saw, just because it's so big, powerful, and he's always had even a fear of it, and he's never really needed to. But he doesn't think anything about going out there and getting that saw. He's 17. Doesn't think anything about grabbing that and going. I'm like, you do realize that saw will cut your finger off, just
it
like
does the
Powermatic.
same thing, right?
But I will say that I think the danger of the Festool saw is it's almost like a toy. Sometimes you forget that it will cut your finger off. You have to remember that sometimes. That quiet sound is not scary at all. That's something you got to be aware of, I think. But
I know we're going off the rails here, but Sedge, I do have one question for you because I do have one complaint about the saw. You can switch between imperial and metric on the digital, but the scale that's on the saw is only imperial, which I cannot stand.
Me too.
Are you able to buy the
Yes,
metric?
I'll get
Okay.
you one. I'm gonna order one tomorrow for mine inside my shop at Festool, because today I wanted 150 millimeter rips and I had to settle for 6 inches, which is actually 152. I am so into metric, and I'll get a couple of scales for you. You can replace them.
did you all see that one of the things that the Doge group eliminated was a group that was ensuring that metric did not come into our country? It was
you
like
kidding?
millions of dollars a year. It was
Oh my
like an
God.
imperial. It was like an imperial
Jesus.
measuring forever committee kind of thing. And I was like, "What? Wait a minute! I got to bring this up on the podcast." It was
What?
ensuring that metric does not come into our country. Yeah, it was like a committee, and like the government pays for it. They eliminated the group. Yeah, it's
Well, that's
God.
exciting because our next guest is actually going to be Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy
Yes.
there's
on
a
that
guy
topic
on
specifically.
There's a guy on TikTok that just publishes the ones they're eliminating, and they are hilarious. I mean, some of them are they're so funny.
That press that wait, and not to get political, but that kind of semi-hot, well, really hot looking 27-year-old press secretary. She said, "Can you believe this crap?" And I went, and she was reading off where some of the money was going.
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah, I
that's-
saw
What was it? $1 million to that trans testicle comic book.
there was
in,
a comic book in Peru for trans that was it was
and
crazy.
and a trans testicle play in
Yeah, a musical.
Musical in
Musical.
Ireland, and somebody commented in the comments on YouTube. It said, "I'm from Ireland, and thank you, Doge."
Yeah.
Even we don't like that crap.
Well, I mean, I think it's not political. The things they're bringing up, I don't think wherever you fall, it's hilarious that the government was spending that much money on. I heard
It's not.
$1,200.
I don't think it's hilarious. I think it's
Well, $1,200
awful.
a coffee cup. Did you hear about that?
It's sickening. And I told
paper-
somebody there's a there might be a bit of a problem because we're all going to say, how have we gotten so snowed?
Yeah. Well, it's
When they were
sometimes,
talking about it originally, but it's okay.
yeah, it's just good to cut your spending no matter what corporation you're in, including the government. It's just time to
Yep.
cut some costs. It's good. Got to do
That
that.
was our political rant segment, Jeff.
No, I mean, I don't
Which
think
No,
I
it
don't-
falls-
I'm all for it. So
I don't think we ever
falls
did.
political. I think it's
No.
just I always think the government spends too much money. I mean, but let's save some. I'm like, don't keep spending. Every once in a while you gotta
Well,
cut
that's
back.
good news though, because now, rest assured, America, the metric system is coming to America.
Make mine metric.
hey,
again.
I'm fully converted. Everything.
Good.
I'm not.
Well, like, here's a question for you. Let me ask you this. I get a lot of crap because I'll always talk in both in metric and imperial. I do think that there's kind of like I look at it from the content creator perspective and the people that I'm appealing to, and I know that 90% of them are not using metric. I still use both. However, like if I'm doing cabinetry, there is absolutely no imperial whatsoever in anything that I'm doing cabinetry. It is 100% metric. Why? Because everything is easier, building is easier, all the hardware is in metric.
Dividing dividing is easier.
Yeah, with US equivalents. But if I'm building like a table, I'm building a dining room table. It's like, okay, it's going to be 30 inches tall, it's going to be 42 inches wide and 75 inches long or whatever. It's like it doesn't require that.
I talk to the client in imperial, and I build and design in metric.
Yep. You have
That-
to. You have
I used to do that as well, and I tried to do everything in metric. And then one day, I think I was building something, and I just realized, like, why am I trying to remember that I'm building this at 2,200 mil or 220 centimeters when I just know the table needs to be 76 inches long? Like, it's a rectangular flat top.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't need to be crazy, but anywhere where I need, accuracy, or if there's hardware involved, 100%, 100%. It
I
just
do everything in
makes
SketchUp.
more
So
sense. Yeah.
every design is in SketchUp 100% to the millimeter. And so I can just go in there and switch the toggle to imperial and then just take screenshots for the client and send it to them that way. But I'll do all the design and in metric and in SketchUp.
Yeah.
That's a great program. I don't know how much you guys use it.
I've been using that for I guess 20 years.
I use it quite a bit now. That's what I use for my design service that I do. So I do like a
Shop design, right?
the shop design
Yeah.
consultations. Yeah, so I'll do that with people. I have that available on my website, and I started to use Fusion 360 years ago. Actually purchased it for a year, and if I'm being honest, the way that my brain works, I actually found Fusion 3D or Fusion 360 to be a lot more user friendly for myself. It just made more sense to me. But then I got this idea to do the shop layout consultation stuff, and where SketchUp just won was the 3D warehouse.
Oh, you can just search anything.
That's such a huge part of it, and so I ended up
your new saw's in there too.
Yeah, I ended up stopping using Fusion and just switched back over to SketchUp. And now I use it for all of the builds that I do. Matter of fact, the build that I'm doing right now, I built everything in SketchUp and metric and all that stuff. And then I basically take all that and put that into my cut list stuff and generate cut lists from that. But yeah. Well, man, this was great.
Yeah,
We
I can't
appreciate
believe
you.
it. I can't.
I know,
I looked
I
up
just-
at the time and I couldn't believe it.
I did
I
too.
just got a text from Cameron. He's at Country Boy.
Oh, so you got to go eat some country boy.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Ronnie, you better make sure you have that full day blocked off. Sedge and I are
I
leaving
do.
at like
I
8 or
do.
9 in the morning.
And I've actually got a little agenda in my mind of exactly how it's going to go and everything. So it's going to be cool.
Okay.
Cameron
We're at
knows
your
too
will.
the day. Yep.
No beers till after business is done.
Yes.
Yeah. I've got it
Well,
all
maybe
figured
one.
out.
Okay.
Got it all figured out. Okay, cool.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It was
I don't know
fun.
if I shared it
Thank
with you
you.
guys, but he was a little apprehensive when I asked him.
Yeah,
Hey,
go,
you
"Ah,
know
I've
what?
never done this before.
Well,
yeah. It's like, don't worry
we
about it.
love
It's
to
not
hear-
live. It's just a bunch of idiots talking.
It's always interesting to hear anyone who on hear their woodworking
Yes.
journey, how they do business, all of it's always different, and it's just always interesting. And there's always common things that we hear
Yep.
across everyone. There's always things that are they're different, but it was really cool to get to hear all
And
that.
I appreciate it.
we'll be out and about somewhere, and someone's gonna go, "Man, that was a really good episode from that guy."
Or who is
Oh,
that?
Oh, the
bozo?
feedback on this will be great. I know
It
it
will
for a
be.
fact. Like, there was a lot of
Absolutely,
great things
100%.
talked about.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we really appreciate you coming on.
No, thank you.
definitely.
Bye bye.
And yeah, where should I send the invoice for the $10,000 that we charge for people
Oh
to be on the
yeah,
pod?
yeah,
I
you
never
can send
talked
it
about
to
that.
jasonbent@gmail.com.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's
All right, I'll
actually
get
on
that right over.
Jason's got a Grinder account now too.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
Send
of
it to
course.
Grinder,
Who doesn't have a grinder account?
Feet Finder, whatever the.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you. We appreciate it. Where can everybody find you? It's just Instagram at Carter Wood Studio.
Carter Wood Studio on Instagram. YouTube is coming. YouTube's coming in
Good.
hot.
YouTube is coming.
It's coming.
Well, make sure
Product
to put
costing.
your
Product costing is coming
product costing on
Yes.
Instagram.
for woodworking,
At
for
product
woodworkers,
costing.
There you go.
for hobbyists.
There you go.
No, I'm serious. I'm going to build a tool for hobbyists to use.
That's good. Smart.
Oh,
Dude, you know what you
way
ought to do?
cool.
Oh yeah. So I'm building a tool for hobbyists to use to, it has all the standard materials. They can go in and put their, their time and everything, how to teach them how to cost products so they can quote it to clients.
That's
Now
great.
you bring that up when
Yeah.
we're
That's
starting the
I gotta plug-
brilliant.
I
Hey,
got to
that's a
plug it
great
at the end,
teaser.
you know?
Hey, he needs to let us know when he brings it out, and you
Yes.
can come
Yes, we'll
back
put
on
it
the
on our-
podcast,
Bring you back.
and we'll
Yeah,
talk about what
definitely.
it does and what it is and how you can get it. So yeah, let us
Ooh,
know.
we could
when
even do
you're-
a screen share.
We can do a
and then
screen
everybody
share.
would be forced to go watch it.
Yeah, let us know when you're there.
Few months.
Well, we're
It'll
Good.
be ready.
we'll
Well,
be
Yeah, for
excited
sure.
to
have
see
you
Let
it.
us
back
know
on.
because people would kill for that. That would
It's
be
I see it everywhere. Every Facebook forum, every Instagram. Everyone's always wondering how to cost, builds,
Mhm.
and no one.
Is this going to be a paid thing?
I'm probably gonna eventually, yes, but I'm gonna give
Yes.
it to.
That's a home run.
Yeah, it is
That's a
It
home
is.
run.
for sure.
We need to talk about the launch.
Yeah,
You want to be a trial?
No. But yeah,
Let's talk about it.
We'll talk about
Yeah.
that offline.
Yeah, I had to
Coming
plug that
soon.
at the end.
yeah. No, stay tuned to the podcast for
tuned.
the first debut notification when it's available. Boom.
Yeah, it'll be announced here first.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exclusive.
Special pricing for our patrons.
Exclusive,
See, now you don't have to book the Super Bowl commercial.
Perfect.
Yeah. Saving money, splinters
Yeah.
every day.
No, I appreciate
All
you
right.
guys having me on.
All
Thank you.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You
We're
bet.
we're
Bye-bye.
happy to have you. And now we really look forward to having you again so we can launch this and help a ton of people. That'd be great.
Bye-bye.
But everybody, thank you for listening to episode
He's gonna do
171
it.
of
He's
the
gonna do it right here.
Three Splinters podcast. If you're not a patron, consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/Three Splinters podcast.
Bye-bye.
Because if you want to come to SplinterCon 2025, you have to become a patron. Bye-bye.